You see my slide?
I can see the slide. It doesn't appear to be in slideshow mode. It looks more like a presenter
Ah,
mode,
okay.
but
How
now
about
now
this?
now it looks like
Okay.
it's
Okay.
slideshow mode. So thank you.
Great. Great. So I'm going to wave at everybody and then turn off my camera because I feel more comfortable with that. Okay. Here. Okay. Gonna get started. Good morning or good afternoon, wherever you are. Thank you for coming to my presentation. In this session, I'll be talking about how I explore the possibilities of using AI tools in tech services work, especially for cataloging and data cleanup. I'm Yoko Ferguson. I'm the cataloging and metadata librarian at the University of the District of Columbia. A few things about us. UDC is the only public university in the nation's capital. We are an HBCU founded in 1851 by abolitionist Martilla Minor, originally as a teacher's college for Black women. We're a member of the Washington Research Library Consortium and share ExLibris Alma as our consortium catalog. Today, I'm going to discuss how and why I use these AI tools for cataloging and data cleanup projects and share with you how they each did and or did not do what I wanted to do. For cataloging, I don't use AI tools to create MARC records because based on my experience, it takes longer to review and fix the records than I create them myself. However, I have used LCSH recommendation tool and cataloging assistant when assigning LC headings for theses and dissertations. LCSH recommendation tool is a browser extension that leverages the Google Gemini 2.0 Flash model to generate LCSH recommendations. This tool was developed by Dr. Tan of Harvard University and shared on the PCC cataloging listserv in March 2025. This Chrome extension requires a Gemini API key, and it's really easy to run. You provide bibliographic information such as title and abstract, and it does subject analysis and provides suggestions. It then checks its own suggestions against the LC authority files using the Library of Congress linked data service and presents the results. Green here indicates headings that exist, while red ones are made up headings that do not exist. Based on my experience, 3 out of 6 recommendations appear to be incorrect, irrelevant, or too broad. It is also cannot generate subheadings so well. It's likely that you end up assigning additional or alternative headings without AI's help, but at least it gives you a good starting point. Per a listserv email from the developer himself, this tool recently stopped working properly, so he created a newer version called Cataloging Assistant. This version is a progressive web app. It requires an API key and works with different AI models and providers. The user interface was improved and it got even simpler and easier to use. Just like the previous version, you supply bibliographic information such as title and abstract. And then currently I use a Google API with Gemini 2.5 Flash model, and then it feels like it's doing much better than the Chrome version, giving me more accurate and useful suggestions for consideration. However, it still doesn't generate subheadings that well, and then the suggested headings can be still incorrect, irrelevant, or too broad. So you have to check them against the LC authority file. So for example, the tool says no match was found for COVID-19 diagnosis. It could not locate the established heading. The established heading is COVID-19 with a disease in the parentheses with a subheading diagnosis. So similar one does exist, but it could not find the correct established heading. Also, electrocardiography and data processing. It exists as is, but it's showing that there is no match. However, artificial intelligence with subfield medical applications, that exists as is, and then the tool was able to locate the exact match. So there is no consistency. The tool also failed to suggest this heading support vector machines, which was included in the abstract, and then it is established as is. So I didn't. Another heading it suggested was deep learning. It didn't seem to be relevant to the thesis that I was cataloging, so I did not include that in the actual record. So like this example, I cannot take the recommendations as is, and then I must always check them against the LC authority file before I actually assign the headings in the MARC record. Also, as with any AI tool, there is still a concern about privacy and data usage. It appears both versions are designed to store data locally in your browser's storage and not to share your bibliographic information with other websites. But you are feeding an AI information, so you need to be cautious and consider using this tool for resources that won't infringe the author's privacy or copyright. For that reason, I've only used these tools for our theses and dissertations that are to be archived in the open access repository. So even with these drawbacks, though, I still find these tools useful when cataloging theses and dissertations on hard sciences and engineering topics that are beyond my knowledge and imagination. Just like any other AI tool, they're not perfect and require human intervention, but they can assist you in brainstorming headings and give you a good starting point from which you can build. So I'm thankful to Dr. Tan for developing and making these tools available for us. If you're interested in testing these out, the URL is right here. Now, moving on to other AI tools that I used for data cleanup. So these are the ones we're going to look at today. But before moving on to each tool, I'd like to briefly talk about how and why I started using AIs to get help with our projects. In 2024, our library completed the renovation and reopened with more open learning spaces, including a kids-friendly study room dedicated to students with children. While we're all happy to have a new and more accessible library, we lost at least 40% of the original shelving space, which resulted in the relocation and weeding of approximately 87,000 items to either an off-site facility or recycling bins. In addition, we were given such short notice to move out of the original building as it was to be demolished and taken over by the DC archives, which, however, hasn't yet happened due to ongoing budget issues. To empty the original building as soon as possible, the university hired professional movers to pull books for the off-site facility or discard based on the Alma reports I ran, and the movers marked found or missing as they went through the lists. After the physical move was completed, I had over 3,700 pages of printed lists of items that needed to be updated in Alma accordingly. For a small cataloging department with a part-time cataloger who later retired and one student assistant, manually going through the lists was not efficient, so I turned to an AI for assistance. I wanted to see if I could automate the data entry portion of this project by having an AI transfer handwritten data on these printed sheets to Excel sheets so that I could batch process items records in Alma using the AI-generated Excel sheets. The workflow is that I, a human, scan printed lists and upload PDF or image files to an AI and have it extract data and generate Excel sheets. Then, using the AI-generated Excel sheets, I'll batch update items records in Alma. I tested a few major advanced AI models, including Claude, Gemini, ChatGPT, and Microsoft Copilot. I also played with Adobe Acrobat and Microsoft Excel Online as suggested by AIs. This is a screenshot of an original printed sheet. It has F and M, F for found and M for missing, handwritten by the movers hired by the university. I scanned a few pages and created PDFs and JPEG files to test if and how well an AI tool could extract data from those files and generate usable Excel sheets for me. So here is how things went with each AI tool. I tested Claude first, a free version. Interestingly, it first refused to analyze an image file that I uploaded, saying I cannot reproduce a copyrighted material from the scanned image because that would violate copyright laws. I appreciated being mindful of copyright. After I told it that the image is not copyrighted, Claude extracted data from a single image and a single PDF file and put it into a tabular format, calling it the Excel spreadsheet. When I requested a downloadable spreadsheet, Claude said it would create and provide a shareable link to an online spreadsheet. That sounded good, but I soon apologized, saying that was not something it could actually do. It turned out that being an AI language model, even with more advanced capabilities of the Claude Pro, Team, or Enterprise plans, their core functionality is focused on processing and responding to text-based information, not on creating or handling files. Claude says it can provide the data in a text-based format for copying and pasting. While that's not exactly efficient, but I had it create a table within our conversation to see how that works. So it was actually able to generate a table successfully, but apparently extracting data from multiple columns was too much. It was messing up and making up data. For example, titles were in a different order, barcodes were made up, and the number of rows was not always correct. Extracting a single column worked better, but accuracy was still not 100%. It was about 92%-ish. Barcode was 100% wrong. Claude couldn't do the task I wanted to do efficiently or correctly. So I turned to ChatGPT. ChatGPT did a better job. It was able to extract data from an image file and create a table within a chat. To my excitement, it was also able to provide a downloadable Excel sheet with 92% accuracy. However, it could not work with the PDF or multiple image files at the time, and it said it can process up to 3 images at a time, but it was actually able to only manage 1 file at a time. So it's not really helpful and efficient if it cannot process multiple files at a time when you're working with over 3,000 pages of files. To my excitement, Gemini did a better job, but it took a few back and forth chats until I was able to have it do the actual task. Gemini first said it cannot extract data from image or PDF files to an Excel sheet, saying my capabilities do not include processing or seeing the content of image files. That turned to be a lie. As I continued asking about its ability, it revealed that it was, for some reason, just acting as a traditional text model first. But a Gemini is a multi-model model like ChatGPT and Claude, trained to understand and reason across different types of data, including text, images, audio, video, and code. So I tested, and Gemini was able to extract data from an image file and then a PDF of a single image. And to my excitement, it was even able to create a table and export it to a Google Sheet. The value was 100% accurate after I told it that the value should be either F or M. The barcode was about 95% correct. Like others, however, couldn't work with a large file, multiple files, or zip file, and did a terrible job. It was only able to process about 5 to 8 pages at the most, and the accuracy varied. One time I gave it a PDF of 5 pages, and it gave me 8 pages of results. Instead of analyzing a new file, it was giving me the results from the previous conversation. It's really not efficient, and then if it cannot manage multiple files or multiple pages at a time. And more importantly, it's not reliable if it can use previous data and present it as a new set of data. I also tested Microsoft Copilot because it's available through the university. When I gave it a task, it said, I can definitely help you with that with an exclamation point. But it turned out it's not capable of extracting data from any files. It can only guide through the processes. However, with GPT-5 on, it was able to extract data from a single PDF and a single image file and generate a downloadable Excel sheet and a table, which was not easy to copy and paste. As for the accuracy, a PDF did better than an image file. But just like others, it couldn't process a large file, a zip file, or multiple files at a time. And their response was also very wordy and long. In my opinion, it was hard to work with. As suggested by an AI and my human friend, I also tested Adobe Acrobat. I was hopeful, but sadly, converting a PDF to an Excel didn't work with handwritten data. Even though a column only has either F or M, which appears to be very simple to me, a human, Adobe Acrobat could not analyze handwritten data well and generated a series of random letters and symbols like you see on the screen. Performing OCR didn't work with handwritten data either. It required manual modification, which defeats the entire purpose of using an AI tool to automate a data entry process. But just for the fun of it, I manually modified the value, but turning that modified list into an Excel file still didn't work properly, leaving the data as images like this and not useful for batch processing. Lastly, another tool recommended by an AI is a data from picture feature available through Microsoft Excel Online. It has ability to convert a scanned image into an Excel sheet. When I watched their how-to video, it worked like magic, so I was excited and hopeful. But it turned out it only works when an image is based on a real Excel sheet with digitally entered data, not handwritten data. It did worse than Adobe Acrobat, couldn't really handle handwritten data sets. You may be tired of seeing a series of unsuccessful cases, but it was interesting to test different AI tools and see what they can do and cannot do, and how each handles the task differently. Some AI tools have the capabilities to suggest LCSHs and extract data from image PDF files and generate an Excel or Google Sheet or a table, but all required a human to review and correct the results and figure out some workarounds, which is far from the efficiency that I was looking for. Also, while some generative AI tools were able to produce results with over 90% accuracy, that's not good enough for the library catalog. So while it's tedious for this particular project with handwritten datasets, it was much faster and more accurate for us humans to manually transfer data to an Excel sheet than getting help from an AI. Currently, our circulation team is helping to update the Google Sheets based on the printed sheets, and I'm using their Google Sheets to batch update items in Alma, and we're almost done without AI's help. AI tools are continuously improving with more capabilities, so transferring tangible data to digital data may become much easier and more accurate in the near future. However, for certain tech services projects that require a high degree of accuracy, using an AI may not be as efficient as we wish because it requires us to carefully review and revise the AI-generated data. And yet, I'd like to test this again if a similar project comes up, because the results may be still not good enough, but I wonder if I could have taught AI's handwriting samples. I'm also wondering if the result could be different if I used paid AI tools. So while anticipating some errors and disappointment, my trial and error with AI tools will continue. So this is the end of my presentation, and thank you for listening. I look forward to hearing your thoughts and questions and stories. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Yoko. That was really fascinating. It's just really cool and interesting and thorough to see everything that you were trying out. So thank you very much for sharing that. If anyone has any questions, please don't be shy and just use that Q&A button to post them there. We'll give everyone a minute or so to get any questions there. But yeah, it looks like the chat feels very similar to how I feel about your presentation. It's just really interesting stuff and is really useful to know all of this. Yeah, really great study. Okay, I see at least one question so far in the Q&A, so keep them coming. I'm going to read this question to you now. Have you tested any AI tools to create summaries on bib records?
Not. I wonder what you would supply to get a summary of, or what do you mean by a summary? Summary of an item that you're cataloging
Yeah,
for?
Nancy, if you'd like to specify this in the chat. I see someone else added at uploading a dissertation
Oh,
PDF, for
I see.
example.
No, I guess that the AI tool that I presented today does have the option to upload thingies, but I never put any PDF itself because I thought maybe the summary, I mean, because I supply the title and then abstract, I thought that might be um, sufficient but I'm curious to try that out to see if that would supply a different set of headings. So that sounds cool to try that. Thank you for the idea.
Okay, thank you. Our next question. So how did it turn out? Did you finish the project?
Oh, good question. We have three more classifications that are currently working on, and we're almost done.
Okay,
So
thank you. Next question. Could you please resend the URL for the cataloging assistant app? So if you wanted to share that in the chat, I think people would
yes,
appreciate
I
that.
will do that. Let's see. Oh, cataloging. I shall do. Okay, I am copying that and then pasting it over right here.
Great, thank you
So
so much. And then just
yes,
as a reminder to everyone, we are going to be sharing today's
I,
recording and slides and everything. And if there are any, important links that do get shared in the chat that don't happen to be on presenter slides, I'll make sure that those get included as well. Um, our
um,
next question is about how long did the trial and error of the handwritten project take you, and how did you decide on the AI tools you used?
question. So I tested all the AIs. Started testing last summer and in the fall. So couple months. And then the ones that I tested are the ones I've heard about before, and then they're all free or was accessible through the university. Um, I didn't want to pay anything, not knowing like how well we would do or would not do. And so these are all freely available ones. And so there may be some other AI tools, generative AI tools that I could have used, but I just didn't know of.
Okay, thank you. And I did
And
see some people sharing some tools in the chat and things
oh,
too.
great.
So I
And as far as cataloging goes, that I know that OCLC recently introduced new AI cataloging tools. And then also there is in ExLibris, there's AI metadata assistant in the metadata editor in Alma, but I'm dying to test them out, but I haven't tested them, so can't really share how they do well. But be interested in hearing if anybody has used any of them and have any feedback. Would love to find out.
okay. Oh, I see the follow-up to the first question by Nancy about summaries for bib records using AI for summaries for bib records and just specifying that uh, we have old bib records in our catalog that don't have summaries on them. So I think that was the use case and wondering about that. So that's really interesting.
But that becomes wonder how what information you should feed to AI becomes a little tricky. I feel the titles and all that seems fine, but uploading the contents sharing the contents of the book with the AI, I don't know about the copyright issues may start getting involved. And so that is another reason why I've been only using these tools specifically for thesis and dissertation that are to be shared in our shared open access archives
Okay,
repository.
thank you. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Our next question. Have you tried OCLC's connection or Alma's AI to generate Library of Congress subject headings? Do the tools you mentioned work better?
Oh, thank you. But no, those are the two that I've been dying to test them on. I haven't. So I like to test them out and see if the one does better than the other, or they're both kind of the same, that it works well as assistants, but you still have to really closely review them, and you are the one who decides the final decisions.
All right, thank you. Yeah, it'll be interesting as more people start testing these out to see how they all stack up against each other. Our next question. How much time did you dedicate to testing each tool? How familiar were you with any of these tools before you started?
I was not familiar with any of these tools. You mean the tools? You mean the cataloging tool or the generative AIs? I don't know. I was not familiar with any of them. AI tools. Okay. No, it just the AI tool, the cataloging assistant ones, it's just really easy to play with. So I did not have any experience with it. It's just really you supply and then you kind of test it out and then teach yourself how to use it. Other AI tools that I used for the data cleanup project, it was just trial and error, and then it took. So that's a good question. I ended up spending more time just testing and making it to work, and then so at the what got the point where I'm just spending too much time making the AI work what I wanted to do. I could have spent that time actually do the data entry. So that got the point when I got to the point of, well, maybe it's just AI is not really actually helpful. And then I just turned away from it and went back to humans again.
All right, thank you. Next question. If you could go back, would you make digital entry of the inventory a requirement for the contractors rather than relying on handwritten inventory?
That See, so that would have been great if that worked. And then that would involve with having, I guess, the digital devices available. And then that point, the building did not have any internet access. So we won't be able to use live Excel sheet, but I guess they could have used the some kind of devices to use non-live Excel sheets. Yes, I really wish that happened. I think they may have offered, and then maybe we didn't really think through. I don't know what happened, but it just happened so quickly. But yes, I wish they digitally entered the data so that and then maybe but that was good so that I get to test this, and so it was an opportunity. But yes, if we do this again, like to consider doing the digitally enter the data in the very beginning in the first place.
Okay, our next question. Maybe you could I guess it's more of a statement. Maybe you could see if OCLC would provide a grant so you could test the tools that need funding for access.
Oh, great! I'll look into that.
Next question. After everything you've learned, what projects or workflows do you see these tools helping with?
Well, well, the transferring the tangible data into digital with AI, I learned that it doesn't really work so well. Um, but yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. But I see some opportunities because we have a lot of cleanup projects. So I would like to see. Yeah, I don't know. I right now at this moment I don't have any ideas right now, but I just see some opportunities and just test things out. But I think I will always have some um um yeah, I see AI as assistance, and then but I will be the one who's need to really review the result and everything. So I think it will just depend on the project.
I see another question, I guess another statement. Since AI is changing, maybe retest in 2 years.
Oh, I thought about it because I tested last year, and then I'm curious still if how well they can do. 'Cause I still have the printed sheets, and so I think that would be a fun test to revisit and see how well or how not so well they can handle. That's a great idea.
Yeah, that does sound like it would be really interesting. We have another question. For converting image to editable data, have you tried OCRing or optical
Yeah,
character recognition?
yes. So
Is
that's
this
how I
accurate?
didn't work.
Oh, sorry. I'll just the
I'm
follow-up
sorry.
question with that is this accuracy will be higher than those AI tools that you've just mentioned?
So the I did OCR with Adobe Acrobat, and then no, it was worse than at the moment. At the moment, it the OCR Adobe Acrobat it did worse than AI tools that I tested with.
That's really interesting. Thank you. We have another question. Looks like our last question, but we still have time for maybe one or two more after that if people have more questions, but I'll ask it anyway. What are the ethical considerations regarding feeding entire dissertations into ChatGPT slash Claude for subject analysis, for summaries and subject headings without the student author's permission?
Yeah, so we got the permission from the student to catalog and archive their works in our open access digital repository. So that's going to be available online and open accessly. But yeah, you're right. But we did not get the permission from the student to feed that if the entire thingy to the AI. Right. So maybe I'm not going to. I'm just going to continue just using titles and abstract because they are going to be. Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah,
Thank
really
you.
interesting. A lot of things to think about. That is the last question, and we are just about at time, so we will wrap it up now. So I just want to thank you again for joining us and sharing this project you've been working on and the results of it. It's all been really, really fascinating, and it's generated a lot of good conversation in the chat here. So thanks again, Yoko. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
And we're going to move on now to our next presentation. I will share that screen so I can do my little introduction.